Call the meeting of the Freetown Board of Selectmen for April 16th to order, the time being 5:45. We are going to be going into an executive session. We will then come back out and perform the rest of the meeting. But just for the formalities, is anyone recording the meeting?
I might. Gary Mendes.
Okay, will you tell me if you are, Gary, please?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and the purpose of the executive session is for discussing an employment matter pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, Paragraph A1, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health of an individual, or to discuss complaints or charges brought against an individual, as well under Section 21A, Paragraph 7, to comply with the provisions of any general or special law, namely Mass General Law, Chapter 214, Section 1B, and Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 6, Section 167, and others. Do I,
Make a motion.
okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Pacheco?
Yes.
Mr. Grenwell?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan, yes. All right, we'll be back shortly. I'll call the meeting back into public session, and we'll go with this. We're going to skip over the special and annual town meeting warrant articles for right now. Go on to the list of Board of Selectmen business, followed by Personnel Board matters. So the first item is to discuss and take action on the Clarkie Memorial Enduro event. I'll open that up for any discussion. Chief, do you want to come down?
Yeah. Good evening.
Good evening.
So I can give you a little background on this. You know, many years ago, a motorcycle enthusiasts assembled on High Street. We had various issues with parking and things like that. At some point in time, the event shifted over to the DeMarandil farm off of Chase Road, and it became better organized. I think at the particular time, Pilgrim Sands, who I believe is the applicant here, became involved. Under the Code of Mass regulations, when certain events involve children 14 years of age or younger, at rallies, races for recreational vehicles, I'm the permit granting authority. And I use that authority to basically impose better organization in terms of having a police officer present, ambulance personnel present, porta johns, making sure any of the food vendors went to the town hall, got properly permitted, etc. So at all relevant times, I would say that this Pilgrim Sands group was very cooperative and behaved exemplary. At some point, a solar farm was being constructed, and then was developed over there at the DeMarandil property. So the motorcycle group went back to the Clarkie's property off of High Street. And they enjoyed the use of that property, and they also enjoyed the use of parts of the state forest, and they received permission from the Commonwealth's DCF to use various sections. More recently, the motorcycle group has planned or has used a public way. And because of that, I directed them to come before the Board of Selectmen, because the previous course just involved Clarkie's private property and the state forest. But now they want to use public ways. So I believe that this board should make a decision as to whether whether you wanted to allow this group to use the town's public ways. So that's the issue before you. I can tell you they do have insurance. I don't know if that meets your requirements or not. I can also tell you that the police officer that's present doesn't inspect these motorcycles. In other words, they may be registered under Chapter 90 for use on a public way, but the officer who is present at the site isn't looking at them to make sure, they have mirrors, or their brakes are correct, or their exhaust system complies with Chapter 90. The officer is up there to make sure that nobody's stealing stuff while these men and women are out on the trail, make sure there are no parking issues, things like that. The other thing I would say to the board is, you'd have to consider the number of motorcycles that might be on the public way. Obviously, 10 motorcycles versus 500, and I'm not saying that's, it is gonna give you different results. So that's kinda the background on this.
These are all registered motorcycles?
Yes, that's my understanding, that any of the motorcycles that would be on the public way would be registered under Chapter 90.
They would meet all the rules and regulations? Do you
Well,
think?
I mean, if they're supposed to, if they're registered under Chapter 90. I'm not sure exactly of how many motorcycles are involved in
80
driving.
to 100.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's,
80 to 100.
Yeah, 80 to 100, and that they're four riders per minute. That's how they're dispersed. So it's not
so it's not
a mass wave. It's
a wave, okay.
incrementally.
In shifts from 9 to 9:30, 10:15 to 10:45, and 12:30 to 1.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, those are the concerns, do you want to have one or more motorcycles on a public way? If so, does the insurance meet your satisfaction? Those to me seem like policy considerations that,
But they have a right to be on the road.
Mm-hmm.
well, I mean, I think generally, I would say yes, but when you're doing it as an organization, et cetera, then I think that, the town has the ability to regulate, the activities.
And your recommendation?
I mean, I can only point out those policy considerations. I mean, they have an excellent history of compliance, but, I mean, I'm a little concerned about the number of motorcycles traveling. I think they have is it $1 million per incident?
They have $1 million
Aggregate
per,
of 3?
aggregate of 3, yeah.
Will this have an impact on traffic?
Well, I mean, I think it's so the section of road they're coming down would be from Quantapug Road, down Bullock, and correct me if I'm wrong, Slab Ridge, and then to Hathaway, right?
It's from north to south, so it would be Slab Ridge, continuing on Bullock, taking a right on Quantapug. So, we've got it laid out, so you're taking a right out of Hathaway, joining traffic in that direction, not crossing lanes, going with traffic, taking a right on Quantapug, exiting to the right. So you're not crossing traffic at any times.
So that's about, I think, Tim, did you calculate the distance on that?
I calculated
Oh,
it. From the parking lot on Bell Rock Road to Hathaway Road, to Payne Road, is about 1.33 miles.
Yeah.
From Hathaway Road to the Fall River Freetown line on Quantapug Road is the amount 5.8 or something like
Yeah,
that. For the
that's
whole,
what I
the
got.
whole thing is 7 miles. 7 miles of town
So,
road.
So they'd be
That's what I
traversing
got.
7 miles of town road.
May I?
Yes.
I just want to review where I was the last time. So you've been doing this ride for 35 years.
Yeah, I mean,
approximately.
the club has been operating out of, yeah, Francis Clark's
Mhm.
place, yeah, I think since actually like 1972 or 3.
But the venues change certain times,
Yeah,
right?
I
From
mean, they've always worked out of Clarky's,
Mhm.
but when they were, you know, using the DeMarandos before they did the solar farm, they were doing stuff there too.
Okay. So the discrepancy, and not by a big deal, was the 7 miles. But I did ask Tim the other day to do a map quest for it, and it came out to 7 miles. So
Yeah.
that's fine. Police chief, you've spoken to. The fire chief has signed off on it. The highway surveyor has also signed off on it. You're saying 4 riders per minute, and they're incremental times,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, so if it was just say hypothetically it was 80 riders, you know, 4 riders per minute, it'd be like a 20-minute, you know, people would be trickling through for 20 minutes.
So it's, again, just to clarify, this is not a race, but a timed event.
Right.
So some riders have to actually slow down, and some riders have to actually get up to speed, per se.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, like, you know, in
Not,
the
not,
trail sections,
Mhm.
it's like you can't stay on time,
right.
but then there's a reset,
Mm-hmm.
and when you come out of the section, your minute changes to the minute you've come out on, so you're never allowed to be late where you're speeding. You know, it's basically just like a transfer section.
So the 2 things I said that I was gonna do the last time was A, talk to the police chief, which I've done, and B, just check with Maya, which our office has done as well. So, my questions have been answered, thank you.
Okay.
Is there any public comment permitted?
That's
or
through the
questions?
chair.
Go ahead, short, please.
Is this a nonprofit organization?
Yeah, our
organization
club is
is
a
a
nonprofit.
nonprofit?
We're not tax exempt, we're a
But it is,
C7, I think.
okay.
We do pay sales tax.
Because these are registered vehicles, if the town were to prohibit this event, there are other events which are charitable events, which are and/or nonprofits, which literally hundreds of motorcycles in a pack at a time run down the road. If we don't let him run this, we can't let those other events occur, because we're setting a precedent that would be, I'm the last guy in the world who would ever get on a motorcycle. I'm not pro motorcycle. But this event's been existing, and if we prohibit this, and we allow an event in the future, do we open ourselves up to liability, because we're discriminating against one organization versus another? Whereas when there is a pack of,
Okay,
if
Mark.
it's a charity event of 100 or 300 motorcycles riding in a pack all at once, that's a much bigger traffic hazard than 3 or 4 guys with backpacks on dirt bikes going the speed limit. And they've always been very good that I've seen as far as going slow, maintaining the limits.
All right. All right, thank you for your point, Mark. Now, I haven't changed my mind, okay, I'm against this, okay? And I'm against it for one simple reason, is that this is an event that can cause liability when people act on their own doing some crazy thing, okay? Popping a wheelie, okay? To Mr. Rodofsky's point is that if you have a ride that everyone is registered and legal, okay, and with a road bike, a motorcycle that's designed for the road, not a dirt bike, then they are liable, just as you are liable to, no, but let me finish mine, okay,
Right.
and then that's it. They are liable, just as you driving your car is liable. Here, we have a event that is sanctioned by the town, which is, he may say it's not a race, but it is a race, because you're running against the clock. And when that happens, you have people have their mindset. They're gonna do whatever they're gonna do. I'm only looking out for the liability of the town, the fact that we are the deep pockets. If something happens, the person who actually committed the offense, their liability is gonna be probably $100,000. Pilgrim Sands, any other organization, they're sued, they're gonna fold. Town of Freetown cannot fold. We are gonna be stuck with any liability. Even if we do have insurance, in insurance, we have to remember, insurance companies aren't into paying out claims. They're out for investing and making their shareholders money, right, Mark? You know all about that, exactly. So let's not joke.
One other
No, maybe, we'll see. I think we really need to move along. The thing is that we're stuck here, okay? Our insurance company can say, no, and we're stuck. We've been stuck before, okay? And I don't wanna see that happen again, and that's my point.
Can I just follow up with one question?
I think we've discussed this and not, I think we've discussed it and not a lot.
This is new, this hasn't been brought up. If they run the event without a permit, will the town, why can't, these are registered vehicles, they can run the event without a permit. The way I look at it, they don't need a permit, they're registered, they're insured, they take it on their own, it's their own liability, and these are registered vehicles. And if they do it without a permit, is there any repercussions that we have as a town against that club? Maybe the chief could answer that.
Well, I would say any further applications in the future will be looked upon unfavorably, you know, and they are required under certain sections of the Code of Mass regulations to obtain a permit.
There's no interest in ever doing anything without a permit.
Yeah.
And my other point,
Everything needs to be-
They've always,
Everything needs
they've
to be on
always,
the up and up,
yeah.
that's why we're doing this.
Gary, we're over, we're,
I own
Gary,
an off-road bike.
Gary,
Maybe I need a permit
Gary,
to ride on
enough,
it.
Gary. We're done discussing that. My other point is this, is there's 5,200 acres of land in the state forest. There is at least 25 miles of off-road trail. And I do not know why, you might have to make some accommodations because you decided you wanted to run it along a town road. But my question to you is, why can't you change your route to hold it within the Freetown State Forest? And there's not an issue, there's not, and my concern is answered, there's not an issue. That's my question to you.
I most certainly can do that, and I will do that if that's what we have to do. But by using that section of Slab Ridge, Bullock, and Quanapog, the object of what I do from a user standpoint is to only use the trails that we use once. We don't like to double up on trails. So by using that section, it allows me to go north and south and come back south to north on this side of, the east side of, say, Makepeace Road and Payne Road.
Well.
So, it makes the event flow a lot better.
Okay, so it's personal
that's-
convenience.
That's not convenience, but the objective is to not use anything twice. So you're just
Sure.
passing through these areas one time.
Have you checked to see if there's some kind of a blanket policy you can get just for the event?
Well, we have that.
Oh, you have that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
and I did check with I did talk to our insurance provider that Netra buys all the policies from, and I explained the whole thing to him. And he said that we are definitely covered for what we're doing, and he said that, the bikes, the motorcycles being, registered and insured and licensed drivers, he said that the registered bikes are an additional layer of coverage, the individuals on their own. And I explained the whole thing to him.
Okay, but I think you answered my point, which is what my point is that why would we be using town roads involving ourselves with the general traffic when you can hold it within the state forest? You might have to make some accommodations to your area, your route, but you're staying off the road. I don't have an issue with you staying off the road, I have an issue with you being on the road. And,
Yeah, I mean, it's.
okay, is there any
it's,
more?
You know, it's not, I don't think I'm asking to do anything illegal. So that's, you know, it just makes it easier to access that southern section.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve, with the caveat that you add, the town of Freetown as an additional insurer on your policy after speaking with Maya.
You are on there.
Okay, then I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Then, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay. The next item is, request for, transfers from the reserve fund to first the elections department in the form of $443.03. The next is from the town clerk.
Do you wanna do them one at a time, Charlie? Cause there's
Okay, all right,
some of them I
okay.
have a question on.
Okay, fine.
So I'll make a motion to, send to the, finance committee, the amount of $443.03 for a payroll deficit for elections.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The next is for a transfer for the town clerk, department in the form of $98.84.
So that's one I have a question on. There's a balance in the account of $11,918.
Yes, but I believe that the issue is that that's not gonna, there's a shortfall of $98.84.
Jackie budgets out to the penny,
Yeah, and
so she's probably figured it all out at this point.
and that is for the election for the marijuana.
The only reason I brought that up is because usually it gets bounced
Right.
back if there's a, if there's money in the
Which one
account.
are we on, the ambulance or the reserve?
No,
No,
no.
we're on,
The
reserve.
transfer.
No, where are you?
We're in the transfer.
Yeah, but three, still number three on,
Number two.
no, number two I have as the Enduro in bed.
Oh, pardon me.
Oh, no,
Well,
we're on,
num-
we're on number
no,
3.
Number
Number
three,
three.
but the second of our items, sorry.
Oh, okay, got it, okay. Of the 403.03, okay.
So,
We're doing these separately, right?
right, so
Yes.
my question was, usually when we send it to finance committee, they bounce it back and won't approve it until there's zero money left in the budget. So I just wanna make sure if we approve it, it's not gonna get bounced back.
I can, my understanding is that the sum she's asking
It's
is.
$100,
yeah,
I'm not,
Yeah, right.
I just wanna make
Right,
sure it doesn't
I-
get bounced
yeah.
back, so.
Well,
I'll make a motion just to send it off to the finance committee with the hope that they're not gonna bounce
Yeah.
it back to us.
Second,
motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
aye,
Okay, the next one is for registrar's salaries in the sum of $344.
oh,
So is your iPad
am I in
working?
the?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
cause then you can follow along with
Okay.
your agenda and just,
all right, sorry about that.
no, that's all right, it's a learning curve, like I said.
Would you prefer a paper copy, George?
Oh,
Yeah, that might be easier.
okay, whatever, yeah.
I have an extra copy.
I thought we were going by this agenda here, but I guess we're not.
We are, but then there's backup to follow the
Oh,
agenda
okay.
that you need the numbers for.
Okay.
Okay, so the sum request is $100.
We passed that one, right? So we're at this one for, the amount requested is $344,
Which
and the
one's
balance present is -86.
Oh, pardon me. Okay, I already moved on.
No, that's not the one
Okay.
I have, I'm
All
sorry,
right.
guys, but that's not my next one.
Okay. I think it's on the bottom, yeah.
On the bottom.
Apparently I moved on quicker than I thought I did. All right, the last, it should be the last page, George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It will be, where are the other pages then? Well, this is the next one.
Well, here we go, George.
Here's this, I'm gonna make a motion to approve in the amount of $344
Uh-huh,
and send it off to the finance committee.
okay.
Because to pay the registrar's hours for the final voter registration for the standard special town meeting, and then again for the annual town meeting.
Yeah, motion to accept.
Okay, motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the last one is in the sum of $100 for registration, for the annual street listing.
I'll make a motion to, send it to the finance committee for reserve fund transfer in the amount of $100 for the
Second.
2019 annual street list.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is the billing abatements for the ambulance. And I'll accept the motion on that.
I'll make a motion to approve the March 2019 abatements in the total amount of $101,555.92. It's a new ringtone.
Could I,
Motion.
ask a question, please?
Yes.
I just don't understand what
Okay.
this abatement is.
All
If
right.
somebody could explain that to me.
Sure. The first abatement there in the sum of $99,153.66 is the contractual adjustment that ComStar has to make. At the present time, some of the bills that we forward to insurance companies are above the limit that
Right,
they
I
would pay.
understand that, so
Okay.
that's good.
All right,
Now, okay,
so that's that sum. The second sum, the $2,402.26 is for write-offs for people who basically
afford it.
can't
Right.
afford.
okay. Now, we're not actually spending this money, we're just
No.
not getting it.
Right, exactly. We're
Okay.
not getting it back.
Which is, George, is something you should know, is that that's gonna change because we redid our contract with
Okay.
ComStar. Hadn't been done in quite a long time. So that's something that, when Robbie Joes was here, he looked into it with the town administrator. And that'll change, and you'll be seeing the, contractual allowances go down. So we'll be getting more back. The allowances from ComStar,
Okay,
we renegotiated that, so that's gonna change. You'll
Okay.
see the town getting more money back.
okay.
Okay, with that, is there any further discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The next item is a copy of the draft for a junk dealer secondhand or property dealer's license. I put it on the agenda so we can have it, we can review it,
That's what I want, thanks.
okay, and go from there.
When is the deadline? When do we have to make a decision?
Well, I don't think it's right now, but we do wanna have it because I understand there's a
There's
business.
an anticipation
yeah,
of
there's
opening? Okay.
Anticipation, so probably it would be good if we could do it
The
on
next,
the next one, or maybe,
the one after?
the one after.
Okay.
Okay, right. I'll get in some George.
Was this taken from another town, or how are we following?
Yes.
She's, yeah,
I think.
Oh, thank you.
Long Meadow, East Long Meadow,
Okay.
Agawam. But if you look at many of the communities, they have very similar structure. More recently, these bylaws include a reference to New England State Police Intelligence Network. So, instead of keeping a hard copy of a set of books as to what's come in, what's been sold, it is now kept on a computer, kept electronically, and these rules require that that is shared with NESPIN. NESPIN allows all of the many police departments to see what goods have been sold, et cetera. Because as you know, there's a tremendous market in stolen property, so
It does. Have you reviewed this?
I have. yes.
Okay. You made any alterations or additions to it, or no?
No, it's similar to what, many communities have.
Okay.
And experience tells me it works very well. All right, moving on to the next item is the minutes for April 2nd.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of April 2nd. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item is, let me get to it, the awarding of the contract for the Bedrock, I guess they said?
Yeah, it's Bedrock Well.
Well,
It's the only, bid that had come in
Yeah.
for, the drilling of the well. So that's what we have. It came in higher than we had anticipated. That will come out of contingency, but, we need to award the bid. So I'll make a motion to approve and award the bid to Bedrock Well.
Second.
okay, motion made and seconded to award the
Charlie,
bid.
what's the name of the company?
The actual, it's Ogden,
Yeah, but
TJ Ogden.
what's the total amount?
$65,825.
TJ Ogden Company Incorporated.
Yes,
Okay.
okay. And David is on vacation, so there will be no town administrator's report. So at this
Wait,
time.
did you call a vote?
Oh, pardon me, I did not. Thank you.
We need that contract signed.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
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 I think I did, but we did twice. All right, we'll move on to personnel matters.
Skip the police station report.
Oh.
Pardon me, all right, back up.
There's
It was-
really
yeah,
not,
pardon.
if anybody that's gone by the police station, the activity is ongoing. I have to say that everybody there has done a wonderful job. The site is clean. We're almost done crushing stone at this point. There's only one more area that we have to dig, and that's in the back. That would be for the septic system. But everything is really on schedule, and we meet every other week to have a construction meeting. And everything is going according to schedule. There was some biting of nails in case we hit any severe, gravel. But seems to be everything's okay and everything's accounted for. So we're repurposing some of that crushed stone in certain areas. But it looks like everything's moving right along to plan. Carlton, do you have anything to add?
No, I think you're accurate in your assessment.
Yeah, everybody's been so awesome. So Pomeroy and Associates and CGA and everybody's been really good. So and I went by the school and you can't even hear them crushing the stone, so it works out. So that's it.
All right. And as I said, David being off this week, there will be no report, so we'll turn over to personnel.
I need a motion to approve Patricia M. Jackson to and Ashley M. Emery to the Parade and Fireworks
I'll
Committee.
make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I also need a motion to approve Lacey St. Jean as an election worker.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Also, Robert Alderson to the Cable Advisory Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gary Martin to the Tax Increment Financing Board. It's because he's now, I would assume, the chair of the Finance Committee.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Also, I have a request from the planning board that they're seeking a new associate member. So anybody that would like to apply, please submit their name to the planning board via town hall. Or see Kevin Dismaris. That's okay. Adds a layer of lightness to this meeting. So they're without an associate member. They have a lot of meetings. It's something to be really involved in. If you wanna be part of that, but it's a good thing to be a part of, so anybody that's interested, please, submit any interest to Kevin or, like I said, the town hall. All right,
Just what, planning board covers, what, everything or certain things?
special permitting hearings, business development coming in, site plan review, anything like that. Any residential areas for building and permitting, they would be in charge of that too, so. Anyway, you interested?
No.
Okay, just thought I'd ask. Also, I have a resignation, from Chelsea Helster for senior librarian effective April 7th. She's sorry that this email is overdue, but anyway, she, has to submit her, resignation, so I need a motion to accept her resignation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, change of status for Robert Joe's Board of Selectmen effective April 1st, and our new selectman, George L. Grunwald, Board of Selectmen effective April 1st. Do I have a motion to approve the change of status reports?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And if we could also put the changes.
Do away with the change of
do away
status.
from
I'm
the
working
change
on
of
it.
status,
I
as
am
being
working on it. Doesn't make
something
any
that
sense
has
to me.
come before us. The change of status is basically, a form that the town accountant needs to put in a personnel file when a person changes their pay raise, they change grade, their status, their, get a promotion, something like that.
Working on it.
Lisa, it is on the agenda, so if you do wanna make a vote to delegate that to David or anyone else, you can do make that tonight if you'd like.
Yeah, David and I have been, we
Okay.
chatted about it. I think, they're gonna bring it up at the finance
Okay.
team meeting, so. Perfect. Thank you, I'm done.
All right. Now we'll go back to the articles, starting with the articles for the special town meeting for Monday, June 3rd at 7 PM. Very good. Just so we know, we have $93,989.87 in free cash. I believe on the special town meeting warrant, we have roughly, requests for $250,000. So we're gonna have to make some modifications there. So I'll go to,
Other one, George.
Article A
It's on the
is
town seal at the very top.
on your
On the
left,
left-hand
the
side.
red one.
This is-
There you go.
Yes.
Yep.
Do we wanna waive the reading of the actual article, or should I?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can just summarize.
Okay, fine. Article, A would be to fund the, police association, contract. Chief, do you have a figure?
No, I don't. I plan to get that to you shortly.
Okay, so, can I, do you mind?
No, not.
All right, thanks. It's really hard for this board to do any kind of looking over articles if we don't have a sum of money associated with, because like Charlie just said, we have $93,000 to play with. And without money attached to most of these articles in front of us, it is extremely difficult to set a budget. So, that being said, I mean, it's hard. So,
Chief,
can we have a deadline of when they can get
right,
the money part of that in, please?
Chief,
It's
do you
not
have
only
a,
you,
do you have a ballpark?
No, I
No,
don't.
okay.
You've got calculations in there for, the shift differentials.
Mhm.
I mean, I can get you that within a day, probably.
Mhm.
It's gonna take me a couple of hours to put it together.
Okay. All right. Accept the motion.
So, I'll make a motion to leave it in here, so I guess I'll ask the board, what is what do you guys wanna do? Are we voting on to accept and not accept, or are we voting to approve or not approve?
My notion is we, vote to accept.
Okay.
Okay, I think that we're, when I spoke to, the town accountant, the original sum, but differential being a little bit of a, question mark here. The total for salaries was around, she felt around 45,000. Does that sound correct, Chief?
Yeah, that sounds like.
Okay, so we're probably talking less than, around 50, less than, a little bit less than 50. Okay, but in general, we'd be saying, if we said $50,000 for the matter of discussion right now, would we be, in your opinion? Okay.
What is the issue if we wait until we get the number?
Well, the thing is, tonight is that hopefully we can get through and we get an idea of what we're gonna have on the warrant. And my notion would be we're not going to not, fund it. It's just that we don't know what the sum is. I mean, this is retroactive, George, to last July 1 for the contract. So we need to have it on the special town meeting warrant so that we can close the books out on,
For last
on this,
year.
yeah, on for this year.
Right.
So, doesn't it, to me, it sounds like it's even more important to get a correct number.
Right.
Right, but if we want it to be on the warrant,
Oh, so
special
we-
town, we're voting to put it on the warrant for the special town
Right.
meeting.
Okay.
And then the
Wait.
next time we meet, we should have the numbers, so then that way we'll know whether we approve or not approve.
If we don't approve this tonight, it can't be on the
Right,
warrant?
that's
Right.
correct.
Okay.
All right, Article B, is for, funds for an agreement with the, Public, Employees Union, Local 1144. I would recommend that we pass over this because, we have not come to any type of an agreement there, and that we would probably, would be better to make it, not, instead of making it retroactive, make it, or the beginning of next year, if we continue with our negotiations. It's the,
It's asking
it's
to have
the,
this,
possibility of upgrades.
Oh,
on
the
accountant and-
two, okay.
Right, so instead of,
All right, yeah, you're right,
okay,
off.
so,
I'm not following,
okay,
Charlie.
yeah, all right.
So we're going into executive session later where
Yeah.
this will be brought up and you'll understand more, so
Right.
we can hold off on
But
that.
I think it'd be better to, just strike that from the.
We don't
special-
have an agreement with them, so there's no need to have this until we have an agreement.
So,
So I'll make a motion to withdraw.
second,
Okay, motion made and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay, so Article C is to appropriate, $9,105 for the Freetown Elementary Phase 1 security system upgrade. Mr. Maderas, are you here to address that?
And just to answer any specific questions,
Okay.
also Mrs. Fox is here as well.
All right.
We've brought this information to the board in advance and we've supplied the dollar amount because we know what that cost is.
I'll make a
That's
motion, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
All right, motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
The next is for, funds in the sum of $45,000 to resurface the main, Bullock Road driveway to the elementary school. Is,
Needs it fall apart. I asked for it maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I've
Uh-huh.
asked it for it once or twice since. It's fallen apart.
okay.
It
and
needs to be on
thi-
annual.
This, but this is, yes, and that's why, Chuck, why don't you come over here, okay? Not, the question totally of need, but as we said, it's funds. And we have just under $94,000 in free cash. And it would, my thing is it should be on the capital, it should have been on the capital.
That's fine.
But, you know,
It should be on the annual,
right,
Yeah, that was gonna be my question, why isn't it on the annual?
I don't know.
That's fine.
So anything that we do to close out this year and the funds to be used for this year should be for special, but anything that we're gonna do for next year should be on annual. So I'll make a motion to put, this one on the annual town meeting.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll be moving on to, article letter E for now is for $40,000, for water line and paving maintenance at Station 2. What do you know of this, Chuck?
There's already $15,000 left over for that water line. Obviously, that has to be done before we pave. But I think we're looking for about $25,000 to resurface the entrance to Station 2.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve 25.
okay,
For
I have
the
a couple
annual?
of questions
Okay,
first.
sorry.
And I'll, okay, the 15, and you're saying 25 for paving? Okay, so there's another so the
15,000 is already, they
Right.
set that aside last year, the year before,
Right.
whenever.
okay,
That money's there. Kevin claims that that's enough money to complete that project. Obviously, that has to be done before we pave
Okay.
anything.
right, so, and you are saying you have $40,000 here in the article?
Kimberly redid that. It's, because we didn't know, Kevin didn't have the figures. Kevin didn't, I don't know if Kevin didn't realize that they had $15,000 left or whatever, but Kimberly claims they have 15,000 for the water.
Oh,
That's totally separate from me. All I need is 25,000 to pave that parking lot.
Okay, all right, but once it, well, I'll accept the motion, what do you wanna do?
So I made a motion to approve with 25 and put it on the annual.
Okay,
Second.
motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
The Article F, once again, something that is, unable to be funded, okay, so,
Make a motion to withdraw.
second.
motion made and seconded to withdraw. All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
That's it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Article G, to raise and appropriate $3,500 to maintain and improve lanes and drainage in the Assonet burying ground.
Make a motion to approve in that amount for the annual town meeting.
second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Article H, to see if this town will vote to appropriate in the general fund the sum of $1,549.73 for the recycled mattresses at the transfer station.
Is that for
And
this year,
Derek.
Derek?
Yeah, that's not, I'm not asking for money in that, what that is there's an old account that Kim had run across that had this money in it, and, we just couldn't use it till you guys had approved it, and then we just moved it into a different account.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, Derek. We'll move on to the annual town meeting. And the first would be Article 1.
Hang on, I need to find,
Right there in your
This
left
one.
hand, yes. Article A, or 1, is just the budget, so we'll just
yeah.
skip over that. Article B is to set the salaries and compensation for elected, town, officials. Anyone wanna make any modifications?
No, not right now.
Yeah,
I,
actually, I would.
okay,
Looking at town clerk here, 56, going to 57. Is that right?
Yes, 57,225.
Right,
That would be
And,
basically a 2%.
2%.
yeah. And the highway survey is around 2% too.
Same thing,
Yes.
yep, 2%.
And, you know, I'd just like to say for those two positions in particular, that's a very low increase. And, I mean, I personally would recommend more for what these people do. You know, we just lost a librarian with his low salaries. And, I would
They are,
recommend more.
we did look at that, and they are in line with other communities, of the same, job skills. So, we did look at that, and I think we increased it somewhat, to make it comparative, about 2 years ago. But it's certainly something that we can do to review for the next,
Next what?
yeah,
Next year, not this year.
right. I mean,
Is it too late to review it for this year?
we wouldn't have the numbers. I mean, I'm certain we can probably throw something together to show you what we've done in the past.
Okay.
So then that way you can look at it.
Yeah, because I, personally, in my personal opinion on this, it's inadequate. Okay.
All right, well, I also have an issue. The tree warden, his pay presently is $21.48 an hour. He asked to go up to $22.50. Again, reflecting the 2%, I would be of the opinion to go to $22 an hour instead of $22.50. But we could, I believe we could come back to Article A if you want a discussion.
So here's the thing, guys, we're just voting right now to recommend, to leave it in or not. We're
Okay,
gonna
all right,
fine tune our
fine.
numbers
Okay.
at the
all right,
next time when we
right,
review
that's-
everything,
that's
so,
fine.
we'll have time to adjust these if we need to,
Okay, that's fine.
right? Cause we're not voting to recommend one or
Right.
the other, we're just voting to leave
To-
them in or not leave them in.
Okay,
All right, so that's for
All right.
everything.
Yeah,
So we
so,
really shouldn't be getting into the nitty-gritty.
a
of
little
the
bit,
article.
we can, a little bit, so we know what we're all talking about, absolutely. So, I mean, you
All right,
obviously have
we
some
can do-
questions on
we can
this,
do-
and so does
yeah.
Charlie, so I think that that gives us time to review it and
Okay.
look, go back and look at
Okay.
everything.
all right, so, I'll accept a motion to keep it on the article, keep it on the warrant, of course, but,
All right, second.
okay.
No, just personally for me, when do we review the numbers?
Well, we should be reviewing the numbers, I believe it's going to be, next Wednesday is, yeah, we're gonna have the
Next
budget
Wednesday.
meeting next Wednesday, so, we can do it then.
Okay.
Right, so, do I have a
Do you wanna
motion?
do them all, and then vote at the end, or do you wanna
Okay,
vote?
yeah, well, all right, yeah, we might, we
okay.
can do that, okay.
The ones that we say hold
C.
on, we'll withdraw, then we'll
Okay.
vote to
All right.
withdraw it, and then
Okay.
leave it all together at the
Uh,
end.
Article C is basically the mechanism for transferring water and sewage enterprise funds to the general budget. Does
Oh.
anyone have any issues there?
What exactly does that mean to the general
Um,
budget? They have their own budget.
Yep, that's their
right.
own budget, and it's.
Right, but, so that's their budget, and these funds will be flowing to the general fund to pay pay the bills. But they have their own budget here, they have
Okay.
their own funds, but, what this is doing is allowing them to, forward the money to the general fund to be paid. Okay, Article D is to repurpose $39,500 of unused appropriated water capital project funds to add with $30,500 of water capitalization funds or enterprise funds to fund the purchase of 7 permanent bleeders for the hydrants so they can bleed the water and keep us in DEP's favor. Anyone have any issue there?
No, I just need more, how much money do they have of ours? And I
They
don't mean
have-
of ours, but I
Yeah,
mean that,
the transfer was six.
650.
650.
right,
They never spent any of that,
okay,
and they want to spend
the 39.5.
39.5. Okay.
Alright.
The next item is E, which is, the $10,500 for PK, valuation software license. And I believe it's a continuing contract, but for
Yeah.
the town assessors.
This one is, and the next one as well.
Yes, and then there's $33,000 for our third installment on the revaluation program. Next is $11,165 for phase 2 of the Freetown Elementary School security system upgrade. The next item is for a cost. Would you happen to have any figure there, Mr. Medeiros?
That's for the study itself?
Yes, the study itself.
So we don't have, I can give you a rough estimate right now, we believe that the cost would be no greater than $10,000 in total. That's combined though, so that's not the cost to Freetown. Because obviously Lakeville will pay a share, we're talking total cost of that study being no more than $10,000.
So I have a couple of questions. First being, so the George Austin Intermediate School, the middle school, and the high school are all based on the regional agreement, which would be based on enrollment, correct? Okay, so I just wanna make sure that everybody understands that part of it.
So that would factor into the
That's
cost,
the-
the
that's
total
exactly
cost.
right.
But just to answer your question, the total cost would be, and then you'd have to factor that
Split
by
it pro rata.
Yeah,
the
so
10,000.
$4,700 more or less.
Yeah, ish.
And the intent behind doing this was because we've got 15-year-old boilers and we appear to be having some significant costs. And rather than go ahead with a replacement, which would be to potentially $240,000, the first estimate we received, we wanna see if we can get some repairs and do something a little bit. So we feel the cost of that, shared between the towns makes the most sense at this time. But that's what that article specifically does, and it is, as Lisa
Well, we
shared.
also thought these boilers would last 50 years, that didn't work.
Well, I have the boiler's never worked the right way since the day that school
right.
opened, and that right now is the reason for the tiles coming up, because of that building is never acclimated appropriately, so.
And that's gonna be part of the study, we need to examine not replacing them with the same type of model, but to look at it, but the total cost would be shared for the study.
All right. Okay, the next article would be to fund replacement for those boilers at Austin.
And unfortunately, Joe, as I shared, until we have the study done, we can't determine what that would be. I think on the high end, based on the initial bid that we received, it would be $240,000 shared, again, cost. We believe that to be high, and that would mean a total replacement. We're cautiously optimistic that we can do some other things that will address that.
We'll have this for the annual town meeting.
Correct.
So you're thinking you're gonna have an estimate for the boiler?
We will have, we'll have the study, and we're gonna have to have a placeholder, because obviously you have to have some dollar amount built in based on what that study is for both towns. We're
Okay.
doing a similar, article for Lakeville as
Right.
well.
Okay,
So I have I'm sorry.
go
So
ahead first.
Article I
Mm-hmm.
is for the engineering study, correct?
No, I is for the actual boiler.
H is for the study.
H is for the study.
Okay, so are you saying that you're just gonna estimate whatever number you wanna put in there without knowing Article H first?
Well, the issue that we face is if we don't bring it forward for the annual, we would have to wait till special, right, to receive that funding, the potential funding. So we're going to have will have a cost, but it would be for a total replacement as a maximum cost.
You'll have that for the annual.
Correct. But to Lisa's point, I do understand what you're saying. It is possible that through the study, you are not, that dollar amount may not be required. That's correct.
Okay.
I have another issue here, is that through the grapevine, I have heard that the Lakeville Board of Selectmen are not going to be supporting the boiler replacement at the annual town meeting. Okay, so that being said, I think that they're gonna wanna see the study. This, of course, is not, I'm not hearing this from the horse's mouth, I'm hearing it secondhand. So,
We don't disagree with that, although I can't share, Lakeville hasn't shared that with me directly. What I can share, I think we're all in agreement that the study will hopefully determine what the next course of action will be.
I'm kind of the mind of striking it from the annual and bringing it up at a special town meeting.
Which portion, Charlie? The second portion?
The second,
Do the
the
study
second,
now and
yes,
then-
do the study.
and then
I
based on
would
that-
support the study based on that, because of what I've heard from Lakeville. So,
Well, there's a timing issue there, though.
I also, I'm gonna say also, I have a problem with coming to the boards. I've lived in this town all my life, and I don't see, this is the first time that I can remember the district bringing articles like this outside of their budget. So I have an issue there also. It's been traditional that the assessment's been made, and we march on. We don't come back. The district has not traditionally come back for such items. They've been in the budget. So
Charlie, I can only speak to my tenure here. I've been here 5 years. I have brought projects separate from the budget, such as the track.
But I see a trend here that I don't like, okay? And-
Charlie, the only thing I would say is I would hate to have a huge expenditure like that on a special town meeting. You know, it would be better served for the public to hear this at an annual.
But my issue is where then encumbering this money that could be left for a couple of years. I mean, in reality, you go in, you put in a sum, we'll say $125,000 for Freetown's share. Now that money is tied up in the district, while the district makes decisions on what they're gonna do with the boiler.
Would it be specific to the
Right, I
system?
understand, oh yeah, I understand that, but again, it's tied up money that you may decide that the study comes back and, okay, you're not gonna do it for 2 years, and now the money is there. Well, you say it's unlikely, Gene, but, you know, my experience is that you're tying up the money, okay? I just don't think that that's a good idea. Do I hear a motion one way or the other?
Don't have a motion.
So,
I mean, I thought we were gonna wait till the end.
Okay,
So if you're gonna hold that
all right.
at bay,
Yeah,
just
okay,
write your
yeah,
numbers down.
Okay, I'll just,
Or letters, rather.
okay, I'll just hold that.
So Charlie, can I just ask clarification
Yes.
on the school? That's the last one for the
Yeah,
school
for,
special
yeah.
articles. The only one you're currently not accepting to be placed on the article currently on hold is
Right.
this last one.
Right,
Not the
exactly.
security,
No,
not
no.
the study,
No.
but the
But
actual.
just so we know, that everyone realizes, the security issues are Freetown issues, because they're Freetown Elementary School. They are not, the district schools, so, just so as we talk about articles and what's for schools and what's not, that we have the
Security specifically to the Freetown Elementary
responsibility of
School,
the
that's
town, but the boiler in, Austin is not.
So we could potentially leave it on there
Mhm.
and withdraw it at town meeting floor if we don't have an agreement with
Mhm.
the town of Lakeville. Right? If
We
we
could.
don't agree with the number,
Uh-huh.
and/or the other town does not agree that they wanna move forward with it,
Mhm.
we can withdraw
Right,
it,
exactly, yes.
so,
Yeah.
alright.
All right, so, thank you, Mr. Medias.
Yeah, that works.
Article
Right, that- I
J,
mean-
That works.
Then we hold the cards. If there's no right, if the dollar amount's not right
Right.
and town of Lakeville's not, then there's no need to go forward with
Yeah.
it. So we'll withdraw it on town meeting floor.
Yes, and I would agree, in the event that the activity, we can't generate a cost, the school department may be doing the same thing to withdraw it at that time.
Right, cause no one wants to spend money that A, we don't have, or B, we don't need to.
Correct.
So I don't think it would behoove any of us to go forward with something like that. Okay,
Thank you.
Article J, to raise and appropriate $2,000 for the sexual assault domestic violence program at the New Bedford Women's Center. Article K, $3,000 to transfer from the sale of cemetery lots to sale of cemetery maintenance. Article L, $500 to maintain veterans' graves. The next is to authorize the purchase of a ambulance through financing, a financial agreement. Article N, to do the same with police cruisers. Article O, to raise $15,000 for a feasibility study to expand the Council on Aging building.
is anybody here from there?
I guess not.
I don't see anyone.
I did invite both, Ms. Tisdale and Barbara.
Shall we come back to that?
I'm putting the ones that I'm ixnaying off
Okay,
to the
yeah,
side.
Okay.
Are you
All right.
exnaying this?
Huh?
Are you exnaying this?
Am I ixnaying that? Yes.
Okay.
Do you wanna know why?
Yes.
Okay. Because
Since you asked.
we have a building committee, and that's the channel that we need to go through, because next you'll find that the library's gonna wanna put something out, and then, you know, the highway's gonna want a new building, and everybody's gonna put these new buildings on to do their own feasibility study. So number one, we already have a feasibility study done on all the town buildings. And number two, we really have to bring back our, building committee to discuss this. So we come forward with a plan.
Mhm.
There's no plan right now for this, so that's why.
Okay,
And-
makes sense.
And just so everyone knows, I concur. Yes, we need to, not put Band-Aids, we need to fix problems.
Right, we wanna do, if we're gonna do something to this building and or the library, it needs to be done the right way. And right now, we're in the middle of a police station building project, so before we start, you know, spending money that we need to save up for, it's not time for this right now.
I agree.
Okay, Article P is to vote to accept the provisions of Mass General Law 59, Chapter 59, Section 5, Clause 37A, to increase the sum of exemption of property taxes for blind persons from $437.50 to $500.
Can I ask a question on this?
Okay,
Are these exemptions, are they, the people receiving these, are they means tested?
I don't know anything of this other than what we both have read here, George. It comes from the Board of Assessors. I'm going to make an assumption, which can be dangerous at times,
Well,
but
the reason I ask
it
is,
is.
if, assuming that there is a floor or ceiling
Mhm.
of income, this is a very tiny exemption for a blind person. I mean, if we're gonna
Agreed,
have
agreed.
something like this,
I
I would
believe
like to
it,
see it a
yeah,
little bit.
I believe it's statutory though, George.
So the statutory level that we're at right now is
Mike,
437.
Mike, why don't you just come down here and then
Yeah.
everybody will see you and
Is that statutory minimum or maximum or
I
hard
bel-
number?
I believe the 437.50 is a statutory minimum.
Minimum.
The 500 is a local option statutory maximum. So you would not be able to make it higher than $500.
Because
That's what the law allows for, either
state law?
State law, either 437.50 or 500. So right now, we do 437.50 because that's the kind of the do nothing. If you do nothing, then you do 437.50. If the town chooses, it can go up to 500.
Thank you, Michael.
Sure.
there we go.
Okay.
Question answered, George. Article Q is to change the compensation plan in the personnel bylaw, basically striking the scales and allowing for a annual adjustment to be made by the Board of Selectmen. Just so everyone knows, there are, this is already, well, several positions are already under the amended version. Basically, what we're doing is we'd be striking that, and because those are fixed in stone, so to speak, until they change the pay scale.
So the pay scale is going away,
Yes, it would go away.
and what will take its place?
What will take its place is annually, the Board of Selectmen will set the salary for each position.
Upon a annual performance based,
Okay.
done by the, town administrator. So the town administrator would do, like a department head,
Mhm.
he would do an annual evaluation, and then we as a board would look at that annual evaluation, talk to, you know, say the animal control officer
Mhm.
with the town administrator, and then we would recommend or not recommend a pay increase accordingly.
Sounds good.
It just gives us better, negotiating,
Mhm.
techniques, and not only that, like, it's hard, like you just said a little while ago, right? So when we were looking for a building, inspector, it's hard because they go by this. Building
Right.
inspectors make a lot more money than what we see
Exactly.
here. So it
Yeah.
doesn't, or like, you can only get 2 weeks paid vacation until, but they could be coming from another town that has 4 weeks, and we could use that as a bargaining to try to allure them.
Now, how does
Highway.
this work with the other articles? I don't remember which one it was.
Article 2, it's
Article
because
2.
these people are by bylaw, the other people are elected, so you can't do that.
Oh, wait a minute. Was this article suit? No.
Yeah, I think it's the next page. I think it's the front page, George. That's it.
All right.
Yeah, those are
The
elected
town clerk is
positions.
not elected.
Technically, she is an elected position. She's forever elected,
She was elected with tenure
Yes.
a number of years ago.
yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
why
You know, it's still classified as an elected position, even though
oh, okay.
she won't be
Okay.
elected for a while.
All right. So they're on a totally different pay scale.
Right.
as-
Right.
Okay, got it.
Article R is to amend the town bylaws as relation to penalties for animal control matters.
Anything you wanna add, Lisa?
No, I just didn't know if you had a question. All that's doing is matching the state law.
Okay.
The state approved penalty increases November 7th of 2018 in the PAWS 2 Act, and we're just making our penalties match the state.
Okay, Article S is
Thank you.
a change in the protective bylaw, zoning bylaw, I believe is basically clarifying the article.
If I may, Charlie?
Yep.
The planning board has a, are we on that one? Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. They have a letter.
They sent a letter along because they have a meeting right now as well. Because of the holiday, we get all messed up with our meetings. So, if you have any questions, it might be answered in the letter that the
Right.
planning board submitted.
Do you wanna read it? I mean, there's a lot of data here. I mean, I would rather get an explanation before I vote on that. I don't really know what all this means, you know.
Okay, well, like I said, the first one, just so we know, is, the first one has to do basically with, clarifying and getting rules and regulations.
When you say the first one, which one?
Article S.
Article S,
That's-
Article S.
Article S.
But this has a lot of ramifications from what I can see. When
Right.
you're talking density and dimensional requirements.
Alright,
I think we should know exactly what it is they wanna change. This is way too broad.
Well, I'm not gonna speak for them, but when you say broad, I'm gonna, I don't know what you mean by that, but they do have their public hearings, they do have, you know, everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you mean by broad, I
Well,
guess.
what I mean is, when this article is put on the floor, voters aren't going to understand really exactly what they're voting on.
So I'll agree with you, and the reason why, and I always say this, is that zoning articles should be left for the fall. So we only talk about zoning articles, so then that way there's a lot of time left to discuss or answer questions or whatever.
Then
So
let's
I'm
put a
not
hold on
disagreeing
this.
with you.
Let's
So,
put a
but
hold on
I want to hear from the planning board before we
alright,
say yes or no to that. I've said this since, I don't even know when, but zoning articles are better left for the fall, because I'm gonna tell you, at 9 o'clock, nobody wants to hear about zoning
Well,
articles.
you know, I agree with you 100%. That's why I'd like to put a hold on this and have it on a fall meeting.
okay, my only, to both of you, generally, I agree. This year, what I see is a pretty light meeting though.
No, I
And that-
wouldn't go there. I don't know that.
Well,
I mean, how do you know?
I'm not
you're
a clairvoyant, I'm not saying,
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
not
say,
saying,
where's your
yeah,
crystal ball
yeah, but
showing?
I understand, no, I understand Mark's gonna be on a cruise. No, but that being said, there isn't really, many articles that are controversial
Should go
at
smooth.
all. That's why I'm just saying, instead of having an annual town meeting that lasts, an hour and a half, and then coming back for a special that then ends up, being 3 hours, I would just, this year, I would say, we might wanna, we really should consider a little bit of, what's
well,
there.
all right, but
Me-
I'd like to make a motion to put this on hold.
I wanna hear from the planning board,
Yeah, okay, fine.
because there's a
Right.
lot of reading right now,
Uh-huh,
and I'm not gonna sit here and
Well,
read their letter.
uh-huh.
So
Exactly.
I
That's my
wanna
point.
hear from, I wish
Okay.
they were here to explain, like, oh, this is just, they could just easily say, we're just changing,
Well-
the terminology. And then, okay, that makes sense.
No, it
Okay,
doesn't,
or,
because when you change the terminology, the meanings can change.
Uh-huh.
You know,
or
this
they're
is very-
making it stricter rather than looser, they're tightening up things, like, but they're not here, so I can't even, I don't even know. So I wish that they were here, so
Right, so
They've had to meet.
even more reason to put this on hold.
hold as in what? Hold as in
Hold
our
on.
next meeting?
Okay.
Okay,
Well, that's kind of what
yeah,
we've gotta do. All right, Article T is amend the, town protective bylaw, and what that would be is zoning change to remove truck stops from, basically the town. They're basically now they're zoned in, the SP and N industrial, in industrial 2 districts. And that article would be to remove them from there, so basically we would remove truck stops from being allowed in
It
town
would just
Freetown.
force them to the Science and Technology Overlay District.
Say that again?
It would just force them to go to the Science and Technology Overlay
Okay.
District, which is
Alright, good.
the area around Amazon.
Yeah.
That way.
Right, so if they were here and they could answer that question, we would be like, oh, all right, that makes sense,
Mhm.
right? We don't want it in town, we want it on the outskirts of town, so,
Right.
Article U is to amend the zoning, map. And I wanna say by, okay, and it's basically, it's just, amend the zoning map for the land that, is off of Chase Road that was, bought by the, state forest, or the DCR, and zone that open space recreation.
Again, I'm not comfortable going ahead with this without seeing a map and seeing what the ramifications are.
Okay, well,
Uh,
yes,
so, just, I don't know if this is gonna help, but in 2018, we voted at the special town meeting to take land that's off of Chase Road and make that, protected area, conservation land, so nobody can build or anything there. So now the map is gonna identify that area, so
Okay,
it's
so they're
gonna
not
color it
changing
green.
anything.
They're
Yeah.
not changing it, they're coloring it green, so no one else, so no one else can change it. So I think
they,
that that's.
just, yes, they're just changing the designation, from, I believe, it was general.
General, and now it's gonna
now
be conservation. yeah.
Conservation.
Okay.
But
Okay.
again, it would be
Is that
nice.
correct? Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
I forgot you were here.
Oh, you know, I had.
Sorry,
that, it's
sit,
okay.
sit your bum down, please.
So I had,
You
in
can't hide.
I try.
You did.
In October, when we voted on zoning changes at the special town meeting, we did it based on a list, so on file with the town clerk was a list. Map 101, lot 1 will now be there. On the town side, that was thought to be sufficient, cause it clearly identified exactly which parcels were changing. The Attorney General's office kicked it back and said, almost like zoning for dummies, you gotta have a visual map so people know what they're doing. So they basically said, the changes you've made are fine, but they don't take effect until you vote on this map.
Okay.
So it doesn't change anything from what existed in October, it just displays it on a map now.
That has to be an article?
It does,
Okay.
it's silly, but it does.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Article V was to see,
Don't move.
oh, pardon me.
You'll probably have more.
Yeah. And it was, to see if the town will vote to amend the protective bylaw, lot coverage by excluding the words exceeding any structure and not, okay, so it's basically, it's a wording, article. You got any,
Well, again, I'm not. We excluding all these buildings or pools or whatever?
I don't believe so, I
No,
believe
that's
it,
what it says.
okay.
Can you explain this?
I could guess, just
Okay.
based on conversation.
All right.
Jeff, the new building inspector,
Okay.
raised some concerns with the way that the bylaw was written currently, because when he's judging what counts as covering the lot, was it supposed to count walkways from the street to the front door, what, you know, if it's paved or if it's brick? It's technically covered because it's not dirt. If you put up a very simple 10 by 10 shed on cinder blocks, is that covering the lot? He was trying to clarify what counted as covering the lot and what didn't. And I think that's where this came from. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's where that came from.
Okay.
I think what he was trying to do was he was trying to say that something that's not a permanent structure, a shed that you can move, an above ground swimming pool that, you know, you can just knock down and
Yeah.
get rid of, wouldn't count.
Well, you know what would help on an article like this? We're asking to change something without seeing the original. And if we had the original here, then this would probably make sense.
Make more sense, yes.
And I think that should be included.
It'll
into the
probably be
article.
part of a it'll be probably
Be
part of their handout.
Yeah.
So you know how we give explanations
I
and
get it,
handouts,
yeah.
so it'll probably be part of that.
Okay,
And I don't know,
Go ahead.
no, it's just, I mean, we're quoting a bylaw, it should be printed here so you can read the bylaw and understand what the changes are. Because this, you know, how are the voters supposed to know that?
Right.
Mhm.
I think we should bring that up.
Article W is a citizen petition, so we don't have any say in that. So,
Oh, okay.
okay. And Article X is
Same.
the same petition.
Do you want me to
Maybe,
explain that one?
yes, if you could.
So what happened with this one is, and I think Mr. Mendes will will recall this. There was some you submitted two different paperwork. The town clerk said that institutes it as two separate petitions, even though it's the same text of both, so it would have to appear twice. So just
Yes,
wanted
sir.
to let you know.
The paper the clerk handed me, pre-printed, it said
Right.
next town meeting, and I just wanted to clarify
Right.
that it was put into the annual town meeting.
Right, we all understood that. We put it on there, but she did say
If they want me to withdraw one at the meeting, I will.
you can do it that way.
But,
You can withdraw it now. It's totally
I
up
mean,
to you.
if the board of selectmen understand what a petition is meant to do,
Right.
Mhm.
is to give townspeople the more time to look at things.
Yeah.
So just so you know, I did look, and Tim and I had a conversation today, and as soon as this is approved, it'll be out 27 days before town meeting. And that's, in looking back at the calendar, correct?
Yes.
Looking back at the calendar, that's what we've been doing. So it is out there, 30 days, 27 days before annual town meeting,
Typically, sometimes we do have some questions like with the
like
the
tonight.
planning board things, so that timeline might be
Yeah.
shifted a little bit.
That's good practice, but the bylaw doesn't say that. It says
Right.
14 days before annual, 7 days before special.
Mhm.
I wanted to give 30 days for everything.
I think it's 14 and 14, but same difference, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to
Mhm.
give everybody the appropriate amount of time to research what
Right.
they're voting on, because you couldn't have positive and negative impacts on what
Mhm.
they're voting on.
Absolutely.
I have a question for Tim.
All right,
You have to go through the chair.
Sorry.
What's the question, Mark?
If this would this apply for both for annual town meetings and special town meetings?
Yes, it is, the petition does say that
Yes, that's
specifically.
what,
Mhm.
Thank you.
all right, Article Y, would raise and appropriate a sum of money to be placed into the capital stabilization fund. And Article Z would place a sum of money in the stabilization fund. Is there anything that we want to go over further or make any decisions on?
So I'm gonna make a motion to, leave the articles on except for Article O,
Oh, was that?
Article O,
Uh-huh,
which would be the $15,000 feasibility study.
mhm.
I would also, need further clarification on Article S,
S,
yes, and Article V. Other than that, that would be my motion.
okay.
I'll second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Just to move,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
can I request a change in date for our next meeting in May?
Yes, Lisa, George was wondering if we may change a meeting time. He'll be away, and he was wondering if we might change, the May 6th meeting? Is that your
Yeah. let me
request?
Check my, yes, hang on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be meeting on 28th. Yeah, the sixth, I won't be, any time after, if you could change the meeting that you have for the sixth to the eighth or ninth or any other day.
So
The
I
9th is the
cannot say
5th.
yes or no at this time. I know that I'll be having, Bob is having a grandchild. Or he's not, well, anyway.
We got you.
Okay, so we're, the baby is due on the 8th, so anytime we may leave. So I can't say. When do you leave?
I leave April 28th, and I'm not sure I'll be back the 5th or the 6th.
Okay.
So when a meeting is scheduled, I believe, for the 6th. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, so even 7th or 8th would be better. The 8th would be ideal, or thereafter.
I can do the 7th. I really, if the baby is
Good.
born on the 7th, I leave on the 8th. If the baby is
Oh.
born on the 8th, I leave on the 9th. So it's hard for me to say.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
All right, well, shoot
that
for
the
7th, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, do you wanna go with the 7th, Lisa, or, okay, all right. Then we'll go with the 7th.
Okay, when do we want to do the clarification from the planning board?
Um,
Keeping in mind that they have meetings on Tuesdays, so therefore the 7th.
would be out. Can we,
We don't need the whole planning board. We need one representative from the planning board. So if we could meet at 5 or 5:30 and talk to them from 5:30 to 6, and then review our meeting starting at 6 to 7, then maybe, if that's okay, maybe we could do that. What do you have? Do you have a conservation meeting that night?
now this is the 7th?
Yeah,
No,
okay.
no, I'm good. I just wondered, are we going to give the firm on the 7th, are we going to vote on the firm warrants?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right.
So we need everybody's numbers prior to
Right.
that.
Okay. All right, and then that should be.
When is our joint meeting with the finance committee? I understand there is
Uh,
one.
I believe
don't
that that would be the 24th. I
Of
believe that the 24th of April. I think they're gonna come to our budget. That was the plan, that they would come to our budget,
Okay.
meeting then,
Just a memo.
right?
Yep, I haven't
Okay.
notified them of that yet,
Okay,
but I did
yeah.
tell them that was the idea.
All right. I just want to bring up one item before we go into executive session, and that is, okay, Rita Garvey from Lakeville Town Administrator contacted me because David's on vacation, and they are in the mind of having a joint meeting to discuss the school budget. She floated the week of the April 29th. Now, I know you won't be here, George, but then, of course, the next week, we're getting into another situation. So I guess what we'll do is, through the office, we'll try to work on something.
If you wanna have that meeting, if I'm not here, I think I'm okay with that.
Okay, all right. All right,
You
but,
can be pretty sure that the budget's not going up, it's only coming down.
yeah. So there might be something on the week of the 29th. All right?
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
we're gonna have any public discussion?
I overlooked that, Mark, but yes, go ahead.
I have a question for the board. Has the board received any information back on the evaluation and assessment of a sewer line that was commissioned?
Just like David told you, no. Okay,
So,
there's been no report.
Can I finish my question?
Sure.
Okay. I had asked Mr. Demott if he would please forward any results, letters, or other documents of public record pertaining to the Assumption Sewer project that's under evaluation. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. He, in the board received any information? I'm not asking you if they may be confidential, they may not be publicly accessible for public record, but has the board received any documents that have been forwarded from the board or from the sewer commission to the board, or from the board to the sewer commission as of this date today?
To the best of my knowledge, because we have not, I don't know if something has come into the office that no one's opened or anything. But Mark, the only document we got was a letter from the firm that's going to do the study, laying out what the study would be. Okay?
Yeah.
There's
No
no,
work has been done,
no,
No.
well, I can't say no work has
Oh,
been done.
yeah, work as in,
as far as looking at prints and determining.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
And
we don't know
I'm
what
talking
that,
about not by the board, but by the company who's doing the evaluation.
I have no idea.
we don't know,
I
we don't
can
know.
honestly say I've not seen one document.
There were no figures that have been
No,
bandied
no.
around.
No, nothing like that, Mark. We would tell you if there was, the law we tried to abide by the law as best we can,
Our
Mark.
communications with contractors that the town, when townspeople appropriate funds to do a study, when we hire a contractor, are those communications with contractors, are those public record? Are those public documents, those communications, or are those communications held in secret? And if they're held in secret, at what point do those documents become publicly accessible record?
Okay.
I don't know because it's contract negotiation part of it, so I don't know the answer to that. B, I think that Charlie and Tim can find out while David's away. And C, I think that once we get them and we get them at a meeting,
Right.
it's public knowledge at that point.
But the person that can answer all of your questions, because we're not the keeper of the records, the town clerk is, okay? So if there is any question as to what documents are official after they've been made a public document, and that, why I say that is like a report from a consultant isn't a public document until we have seen it, or whoever the document is made for has seen it, okay? Once that is, the town clerk would be able to answer your question as to exactly when they are able to be released. But we have no records, we have no report on any appraisal of the possibility of a sewer line, okay?
Well, I mean, the possibility of a sewer line is, I was talking about this was a survey to determine what the cost.
It was a feasibility
Right,
study, and no, I
feasibility.
have not seen any documents about the feasibility study coming back yet.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
There was one done.
A feasibility study is being done, but I have not
Is
seen
being
any
done.
documents after.
Yes, Stephen?
Could we get a sign put up on Alexander Drive for no large trucks?
No, because it's not a public way.
Okay. Okay, can we get one put on Regional Road, coming headed that way? Cause they're driving up and down.
Carlton
Alexander
just
Drive
left.
Down with the scrap metal trucks.
If it's not a public way, is it a
You got
private way?
trailer trucks driving over the
Well,
oil and oil.
Okay, we're limited there because though the roadway is laid out, it has never been accepted as a town way. So, like I say, we're limited. We've kinda, okay, hold on, George, I'm gonna answer this question. We've kinda tried to help the situation there, with the no littering sign and so forth. But as to what we can restrict, going up and down there,
One of the trailer trucks pulled over there not that long ago, leaking oil. Parked it on the grass there while he sat there. And like the other Friday there, XL was driving up down the road, all this scrap metal hanging out of the truck. Two larger trucks to drive on the road. Like you say, it's not an approved road, well, he shouldn't be driving on it then.
Who owns a non-approved road?
the contractors who subdivided it still.
Any idea when we're gonna get it approved? Or are they gonna wait until he drops dead and then
Well,
what are they gonna do?
well,
I mean, there's a.
that's, it is, it's in the realm of the
Yeah,
planning board.
sessions.
Okay, I know a year or so ago, he made promises, he has apparently not, come through with those promises, but, that's where,
Well, what's gonna happen when he passes away, how's he gonna get this done?
it is a good question,
That's a question,
okay,
it's a question for the planning board, though.
yeah, but it's a
Um,
planning board, issue, not us,
Will the board be returning from executive session?
no. So with that,
I could say yes and just make you hang around for another hour.
I gotta fill up my.
no,
Nope.
all right, the executive session, by Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 21, Paragraph A, Sentence 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Public Employee Union Local 1144 of Luna, Clerical and Library Union, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position
you have to
of
sign
the
those
public
first.
body, and the chair so declares. Also, chapter 31A, section 21, paragraph A, line 3, again, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining with Public Employee Union Local 1144 Luna Highway Unit. Because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares. And once again, chapter 30A, section 21, paragraph A3, to discuss strategy in respect to collective bargaining with the police, Freetown Police Association, because an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of a public body, and the chair so desires. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ms. Pacheco?
Yes.
Mr. Grenwell?
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan, yes.